I gotta show off any little progress that I made, and yeah, I'm like, I know, like, dang, or hello, it's Valley Family. Anyways, I was like, dang, why did I? And for everything that you put right there, like, I know that I cut it kind of like it got rough, but I've learned my lesson because I changed it differently this last time. But I seen some videos on how to fix it, so some support sticks right there, switch those, put those in, cute. And anyways, then drilled right there, and then when they put the mud, so the rift of the lip is like the bottom is jutting out more than the top, even though that's some evens. But with the equalizer set, that it's not even straight to begin with, so even though I had done some preset to measure, so when I'm doing the mud, I'll start from the top, go down like this, and that way it's gonna fill those spots, do that, and then where to do that to prove it, so then I'm gonna sand it. I think an actual professional sanding thing is one of the least expensive gadgets. It's like an outstanding gadget, like the auto hammer. After using basic tools, I don't even know why I needed that. Maybe in a near death scenario. Look at it though. Imagine just the white mud straight down, looking like that. I'm gonna show an example right now of some of this a spare drywall and how we're gonna get an effectively good cut versus why this happened first time, whatever. This is a fine enough that you won't even recognize it later on. So we're gonna go to this area right here. Yeah, if I'm making a point, then I can't prove my point by proving it. That's fair. That's cool. I was just like one of the few only watchers that I can see, unfortunately. I had found through the source of a coworker that it could have been related to, what is it? Like an Oregon Trail. Let's say Oregon has been a key factor. So a lot of the other thing to watch it is you should know your rights on the implementation of spiritual energy before you cast your rights for being whatever you're being. Anyways, bro, infect my videos again and I will curse you to the worst life you haven't been able to explain yet. Wait to die in season 3. Dude, that's like, just got here. Yeah, I'm sure you just got here. Bro. Anyways, the trick to... Oh my gosh, dude, I hate myself. Whatever wishmas that was. Anyways, I want to show that once you do this, the cuts here, and when I was doing the other one, like how I messed up on that one and how I was like that, that's why I put my foot, because I was trying. So when you're doing this, when you're getting to the other side, remember that you're not trying. Do not try. So this is just a sample test, but this is the already cut kind of on the side. So I'm going to take that, and I was watching the video, which you can see on the home builder of my playlist, and they're just like, hey, make a puncture. Jackie Chan. Okay, so I make my puncture like this. Like so. This was done very incorrect, but I'm just gonna see if we can just even get that result, which is it like being done. guess you're all just scared because I got a health license in the way that was cheap. Dang, man, it's like trying my best here to get you out my card. Dude, you're only correct because you're allowed to be correct because you're a pagan. Anyways, the crack this time is kind of there. So then they're saying if you did the crack like that, take that, do some kitty scratching. That is like how I want to do that. So kitty scratching as a making not too hard. So bang, close enough. Then, oh my god, dude, they're right at the end. Totally lost faith in your skills at this, but let's see. Maybe less of a tutorial, but hey. This is actually way harder than it seems, and I'd still use this basically. That's what I was intending to do with it. So let's see a look from the professionals. All right. So what happened was I had a little bit of like a lip right there. And trust me, like, you don't use this to fixate it to what you want it to be. So, like, see how this is right here? It wasn't perfect. We're not using this material as anything like this. And again, I'm sorry for what something says, but I'm not sorry as your means for your spiritual energy is not the significance of my existence. So those evolutions have to happen. Anyways, everything else is pretty much straight. And looking at the comparison of what can go wrong, so it looks like wow, Darian, how did you make this whole thing just completely melt off the side? Anyways, I tried to cut it, and then when I got to the step of pressing it at like right at the in-between, then I applied my physical pressure to it and applied strength or what of it. And then doing that, it can break this sheetrock pretty good. So let your knife do the work. And if it doesn't give way, then that's just what happened. Do another cut. See, when I was doing it like this, I wasn't doing it like so perfect. Like wow, I'm so proud of myself that I cut it like this. Having the right stuff, you probably have a yardstick, some clamps on the side of this. Dude, if I could have some clamps just to get these to stick, whether it's those clothesline or the ones that you turn like this, or yeah, something like that. Something interesting. So straight like there. But that's pretty good for this one right here, I say. You wanna take a look at it. See, that's pretty impressive. So I was mad because my monkey side, I gotta do the repair. And then B side, he got lucky and he already had experience. So that's the competition on the versus. Else, that's all that would you really need to know. It is not looking bad at all. So we're using. So I would just call it a karambit. This is a unique one. One of my favorites. Like I said, Endurance Steals, something like this is a final act or a defense, and yeah. I've never had like a conversation be like dubious to have this as a necessary, except faking that it is something else. Or it seems accurate the more they like if somebody knows this in their heart of hearts of what their intent was on what they're willing to do at the start of their contact for being bank security before. Between like the hours of like to 2 a.m. or to 3 a.m. It wasn't in where I live now, but if it was, dude, I would not have the same confidence. It would be required, dude. A gun would be required, bro. Or a taser or something. Bro. Anyways, I have to apologize every time. Like every time I'm going forward, I don't know if it's my eyes impressing to the song. No, I'm onto something where somebody is trying to piss me off with their conclusions of what they think. Yeah, a real Wagoneer over there is being a piss off. I find the subject. Okay, I got a subject, the Wagoneer, who really finds themselves in concerning of evasive molestation. So they won't think something, they'll curdle it, they'll pass it through. It's not them. And then they try to mediate the field of the perspective and then synchronize those ley lines with what it is to pressure that for what exists. And then it's all these things that I talk as secondary or third stouts. And everybody who has a primary word when they're focusing on it, like a primary thing that you're focusing on, like this is the thing that I am. Let's say you're untrusting and you're insecure and you're trying to figure out what you're doing, but you're like, oh, my go-tos are, you know, I love money and I'm really strict and I stay near my base and the things that pass to me don't affect what I statistically am holding. And then somebody who's doing a third is going to find the means of their self and their secondary as a Wagoneer, as where they worked, and then see that through other people and then evade and then molest and then try to get closer. So the Sun community of that, which is associated to something real, so that this person finds themselves in a place where they're associating themselves seriously as something that is real, so they get to think that they're staying out of that way because they know that they're not a participation, so they begin to identify themselves as that piece. And then when that goes and when time goes in one direction, they're going to find that difficult in the other. So when both of those characters find themselves proving themselves wrong for what they're doing to the fact of what they're doing, they reverse insight that it is like this fact of what they're doing, so that they do know what they are doing. They are actually aware of what they're doing and they're trying to see something. But in the viewpoint of being a proctor of something like that, it's kind of just whatever. Forget that guy. Forget your family. What a bunch of cowards. Dude, it's like the same thing. I rounded my my ulterior other side of the family is orange, and it's like, wow, dude. I'm like, I'm figuring yellow is gonna be the one to figure out how to do something. Like it's very collective, and that I'm like too nice to participate in this part of, well, what that battle of the sand was inside the yellow sand to create that, and then that goes there for this kind of range meter. So the depiction of what that other Wagoneer was doing at that area. So the Wagoneer is right there, and then it's doing that, and then 56, like it's so funny, but the 56 is associated with that Wagoneer, and then I've created a color correlation based on somebody's emotional regulator, because they would have to use the colors, or they would have to think about it eventually. So like yellow, like, things are like not going to the best. Then orange, like, oh my gosh, dude, something is happening. Like I really have to respond and figure this out or whatever. And then when somebody gets like slammed by the truth, or that they have to like take things to like they get bombarded by the fact of what is there, so they're like, whoa, that hits so fast, like that's so real for me now, and like, you knew I was orange, but now you're making me happy, is what it thinks, because it happened too fast. So it's the speed at which this item is interacting with the world. So it stays in that orange, or we give it the and we gave it the time to interpret life how it wanted, and it chose to work counterclockwise. So there are punishments as a field manager for acting out like this. You don't get to outright explain things to create the field as what you want when it's defined like this. Wow, you should see, watch. You should see like the kind of regurgitation that this thing says right back at the same time. Like, wow, you don't even care or see that you are crazy. Wow, I really want to implement myself in the way that I already saw that to the way that I was seeing, and I cannot even do that. Look at me thumb myself. And yeah, I'm a hypocrite to what I see, because wow, I am telling you, this what is trying to Morse. It's not very intelligent. Bro, I don't care what you are. Quit bugging my electronics, bro. So, anyways, once that person's all through everything that they said, and they just describe themselves in a plea, that's not enough, dude. I don't want to hear you itemize yourself as the main contender in the center of what is my world. You create your own world, and how about you punch yourself out and into your own world? You're annoying. Level 48 is difficult to retain when, if you take a look at the previous video on how I talk about the different types of relationships, on how an intellectual relationship is the point. Like, if I'm having an intellectual relationship, then you're listening to what I'm saying, and you're not trying to play a move. Like 56 is trying to have a spiritual relationship when he hears intellect, because if something goes that way, or if I take this intellect and pass it to whatever social constructing that I'm doing, or if somebody wants to say that their ego is being put off into something, to see how they said, but at the same time, you can't be that like stupid to see yourself. That's so crazy. Coming from Darian, you're pissing me off right now, buddy. Okay, so I passed the field of yellow in the hopes of getting a situation for what was there. And it's kind of like this thing of just like, this is so like somewhat acceptable that I'm gonna let it go. And then it is like not it's not acceptable what somebody's doing, but it's acceptable. So I it's like there's catchers for things that have itemized for this person that are in this for Wagoneer. So it's funny. It's laughable. I'm like, you can't expect to achieve what somebody expects of in a relationship, and all relationships are relationships. I'm not even looking at that. That those things have to be said. Those barriers have to be passed. So that's how I felt about it. So yeah, I kind of feel like I feel like a lost card lately. Really, there's like a few ways that I could save myself here. So if my cost so if my costs are within 750, so if I had a $9,000 profiting passive profiting a year, that's a weird way to say it, but 9,000 would be 750 a month, so 750 a month. So if I had a 9,000 proof of stake return on investment of the same amount, then I do that. And I'm so glad that the new format changed that in the Vortex. I say it was worth the 33% drop in the market. I don't know how oh my god, I know this video is gonna be like sound like that is bad, but it's actually good. I don't know how you would like if those things. Hey, so for the progress of what are dire straight word searches, we here's things I noticed. We don't say anymore. That's a big deal. That's a big progress. We got like. Like is the next one. We could talk about it later. But hey, if I'm tired and if I'm bare bone, then I'm gonna be like using the same things that I did. That it's like it's almost, it feels like holding a breath, or it doesn't feel like holding a breath. It feels similar to turning something that is like right there, and then it kind of like passes through, kind of something like that. I forgot that I put this on something, so maybe I was just one of those. I don't know. I appreciate anybody who saw that. I felt I was making a progressive move in my block, and that, hey, I say, if I take it back to the states of the three types of dates, or the three perspectives on those, that I'll talk later on my, on my scroll, the scroll that I made before at Streetlight Operator, or number 35. I have finished a lot of the numbers of the D&E things, and I put in gratitudes for, what did I put in gratitudes for? Not dividend stock. The only thing that I wanted to if dividend stock was gonna be a real thing, because it's unsuccessful so far, that it would have to be dividend stock based on percentages. That's not really an argument. The percentage of would declare that this stock is based on the dividend, therefore controlling the amount and less discerning about that. That's the only thing there, because I'm like, wow, these new things are too good, like too unreal and too skeptical for conservatives and people to think. So how do we get something like what you were already trying to do and not turn it into a huge business, and then have the reserved funds for that be saline by something? but it's not to saline it, it's to take the percentage of, and then that would deduct that to being minimal, which would put people to invest in it. So it already proves a good business as far as I would need it. Because by the time that your funds, like let's say you're the business and you're the person who did that for everybody, then when the money gets closer to you, like there's less money because of that, then it appreciates like your technique that it's upon you. Or I forgot how I said that. That's not as hard as whatever project. Well, I'm never saying something to say negative, because in the hierarchy of philosophies and laws that love, oh my gosh, that was embarrassing, but level 4 laws that don't have any negativity and control, that don't do stuff that are too wicked of the past energies past that point, are the better ones. So that's all that I'll say for that point. I know some things are dumb, and I'm trying to use this area. Well, I'm not trying to use this area, it just happens to already be. I can't believe of all that was said, the part that you contrast to is, oh, I forgot another one, a political relationship. Turning what I say into something else right as I say it, to disrespect me for a conversation I don't think that you would have the courage to have, probably. Give me some time to establish myself, and I would love to argue. Alright, thank you for watching. Just kidding, unless there was somebody that watched. Hey, if there is anybody that uses spiritual energy and sarcasm, that is a Methodist. That is me calling you out for being a Methodist. Okay. Alright, anyways, thank you.